everyone, it's Haley and today is Bookmas Day 9, so I'm going to be talking about the 2020 new releases that I didn't get the chance to get to. So for yesterday, Bookmas Day 8, I talked about the worst books that I read in 2020, so I'll have that linked down below, as well as the Bookmas playlist for you guys. But today, we're going to be talking about some new releases. So I feel like this year, more than other years, I don't know if it just seems like this, but I've acquired a lot of new releases. And unfortunately, I didn't get the chance to read all of them, but today I'm going to be talking about the ones that I'm really sad that I didn't get to read them, and I hope to get to them soon. Now, obviously, like, I have more than this, but I also do have like 2 stacks here, so I do have a lot of books to talk about. Now, some of them have been out for a while. I would say most of them I've acquired more recently, so that's why I haven't gotten the chance to get to them yet, but without further ado, let's just get into the list. So the first book that I didn't get the chance to get to is The Conference of Birds by Ransom Riggs. I actually started this one and I got like more than halfway through, but then I had to put it down because I had a book that I had to read for an event I was doing, so I had to stop listening to the audiobook. So I'm really sad that I didn't get the chance to get to it. It is the 5th installment in the Miss Peregrine series, and the final installment is coming out next year, so I'm gonna try and get to it soon so then I can be prepared for that final installment. Next is definitely a recent acquirement, and that is Love and Olives by Jenna Evans Welch. This like just came out recently, but it is by the author of Love and Luck and Love and Gelato, and the first book was set in Italy, and then the second book was set in Ireland, and now this one is set in Greece, and it sounds absolutely amazing, totally adorable, and also like it's going to be really emotional, which tends to be what she does for her books. But this one, the main character's father has been estranged, and then he invites her to go to Greece with him because the National Geographic is funding his Atlantis research. So I did have this on my December TBR. I am filming this in November, so there's a couple that I have mentioned on TBRs that maybe I will have read, but just I kind of doubt it, so that's why I'm including them here. Another book from my December TBR was You Should See Me in a Crown by Leah Johnson. This just sounds so adorable, so I think the next time I'm in the mood for a YA romance, this is what I'm going to pick up. It's about the main character who really wants to be a doctor, but her financial aid ends up falling through, so she finds out she can get a scholarship through being prom queen, so she sets off to try and become prom queen. It's also a female-female romance because there is a new girl that is distracting her from everything and kind of adding a little bit of a twist to her plans. Another book that I got recently is A Cuban Girl's Guide to Tea and Tomorrow by Laura Taylor Namey. This just sounds so cute. The cover is adorable. Everything about it sounds just like it sounds amazing. So the main character ends up getting sent off to England. She had everything planned in her life. It was all going great, but then her family starts to worry about her mental health as things are starting to fall apart. So they send her to stay with family friends in England for 3 months to try and recharge and reset. I want to read about travel, you know, and this cover just gives me all the cozy vibes and it looks so cute, which is why I really wish that I had been able to squeeze it in before the end of the year. Next up is Early Departures by Justin A. Reynolds. I read Opposite of Always by this author earlier this year and I super enjoyed it, so when I knew he was coming out with another book, I knew that I had to have it, but I unfortunately wasn't able to read it before the year was over. But this is kind of, I feel like he kind of writes about like death quite a bit, to be honest, and he also does contemporaries with a twist, which I really enjoy. So the main character's best friend is about to die again, and he has like this last opportunity to be with him. So knowing how much I enjoyed Opposite of Always, I feel like this seems like kind of, it's definitely different, but kind of the friendship version of that, and I love the idea of that. I love the idea of a friendship-focused story, so that's kind of what I'm anticipating. Speaking of friendship focus, actually, I'm just gonna get this book now because like you probably knew it was going to be on here, but When You Were Everything by Ashley Woodfolk I have talked about quite a bit because I included it in a bunch of TBRs, but I don't know why I just haven't really gravitated towards picking it up, even though I'm super interested in it. But this is about a friendship breakup, and I think that needs to be written about a lot more, so I'm eager to see what it's going to do with that topic. Next is Crazy Stupid Bromance by Lisa K. Adams. So this one did come out recently in November, so I feel like it's okay that I haven't read it, but it is the 3rd book of the bromance Romance Book Club series, which I started this year, and I have read the 2 books that are out so far, so I'm doing really great with keeping up with the releasing of them. I think it's because it's not like a sequel, it's a companion, so that makes it a little bit easier for me. This one sounds so good though, because it's about a cat cafe and a second chance, like, not really second chance romance, but a friends to lovers storyline, so love that. Next is The House of Dragons by Jessica Cluess. This book, I am not gonna lie, I entirely forgot I had. I included it in my November book haul because I completely forgot that I had never hauled it, so awkward, but now I finally did. But it is a story about dragons, and I feel like I haven't read many dragon stories in general, but also not many that I've really loved, so I would like to find one that I would enjoy. This is kind of taking that typical, like, a thief, a murderer, like that sort of ragtag group, but putting them in competition for this dragon throne, so we'll see how that plays out. Next is The Other Side of the Sky by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner. This author duo wrote the Starbound trilogy. I always get the 2 of them mixed up. I say like that that Megan Spooner wrote Illuminae with Jay Kristoff, but it's Amy Kaufman, so I'm sorry. It's all confusing. There's a lot going on up here, but simultaneously nothing. But this seems really weird. So it's like there's a goddess. Oh, they also wrote Unearthed. Sorry, I totally forgot about that one. But there's like the goddess, and then there's like it's supposed to be genre bending, and I think that's why it confuses me. So a living goddess searches the skies, desperate for hope. A crown prince falls to earth looking for answers, both destined to save their worlds or destroy them completely. Dun dun dun. Next is The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This book just sounds so good, but I got it in November, so that's why I haven't gotten the chance to get to it yet. But it's about the main character who is set to inherit a billionaire's fortune who she had never heard of before. She had never met him, and he's just like, here's my fortune. But the catch is she has to go and stay at his mansion, which 1 has a ton of passages and puzzles, and 2, it is occupied by the family that he just kind of snubbed, and including his 4 grandsons. I've heard some really great things about this one, so it definitely has like made its way to the top of my TBR. Along with that one, I also recently acquired These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong, which I hadn't heard of before, but once I heard of it, it just became everything that I wanted. So it is a Romeo and Juliet retelling about rival gangs set in 1920s Shanghai. I think that just sounds so great. So really wish that I could have gotten to it, but once again, a later half of the year release, so understandable, I feel like. Next is The Black Kids by Christina Hammonds Reed. This is a historical fiction, but it is set in the 1990s during the Rodney King riots. So it definitely deals with racism as a prevalent topic, and you follow a character who is living in LA during these riots, and she goes from just being one of the friends to being one of the black kids. So it's about her experience dealing with that, and I'm super eager to read more about that point in history because I don't know a lot about it, and I think it's something that I do need to know more about. Next is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. To say my expectations for this book are sky high is like an understatement. I've just heard nothing but amazing things about it, so it has just made me desperate to read it. I want so badly to read it. I think in January I'm definitely going to try and do it because I've kind of been waiting. I knew I was going to be busy, so I think January will be the perfect time. Next is Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. This is another book that I feel like I included this on a lot of my end of the year TBRs, or like closer to the end of the year TBRs, because it's supposed to be like City of Bones-esque sort of fantasy. I've just heard amazing things about it, and it just has such a beautiful cover, and I feel like it does seem like a really interesting concept. So the main character is going to this college. She's not in college, but it's like a program that she can take there as a high school student, and she ends up witnessing this magical act, and the guy ends up trying to wipe her memory, but that doesn't go so well, so she ends up having these powers. That sounds cool. Next is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. I'm supposed to read this for my Bookmas Day 14 reading vlog. Yes, that is the correct one, so hopefully I will actually be able to do that. So it might not be on this list anymore, but I feel like this book just came out at a really bad time when things were kind of crazy, a little bit wild, so it just kind of fell to the wayside and I kind of forgot about it entirely, but it is the Hunger Games prequel that I'm very nervous about reading, but we'll see. Next is Forest of Souls by Lori M. Lee. This was on my most anticipated releases of 2020 list because I was so excited for it, and then I was hoping to fit it in around Halloween because I didn't realize, but it's about a main character who accidentally raises her dead best friend from the dead, so that seems interesting. I know there's like a Spider King and stuff. I don't know, I haven't really heard a lot about it, but it definitely does still intrigue me. Next is The Court of Miracles by Kester Grant. This one is like so interesting to me because it's a mix of Les Mis and The Jungle Book. What do you do with that combination? Like, what is going to happen? I don't understand it, but I'm all for something that's very unique and different, and it seems like this is going to be exactly that. Next is Majesty, which is the second book of the American Royal series by Katharine McGee. Apparently it's only a duology, so we'll see, but this came out in September, but my copy took a very long time to get to me, which is why I haven't read it. A lot of you guys were asking when I was finally going to read it, so I didn't get the chance to squeeze it in this year, but I will try to early in 2021. I really want to know what's going to happen to these characters, especially after the cliffhanger that American Royals left off on, so we shall see. Next is You Had Me at Ola by Alexis Daria. So this is a telenovela adult romance, which sounds like so much fun. Once again, another book that I've heard amazing things about, so that definitely has had it on my radar, and also the cover is just beautiful. I love these colors. Next is A Song of Wraiths and Ruin by Roseanne A. Brown. Another book I've heard a lot of great things about. It is a African-inspired fantasy, and I love that. I love that there are way more books that are coming out that aren't just based in Western culture. It's definitely something that is much, much needed, so I'm hoping I will be able to get to this one soon. And all of these books, really, so I'm a broken record. Next is Now That I Found You by Christina Forrest. This one, when it came out, like, actually, I saw that it was coming out in August, so I pre-ordered it because I thought it sounded amazing, and I just didn't get the chance to read it right away, even though I really wanted to. It is set in Hollywood, and the main character wants to make it as an actress. She is the daughter of, or the granddaughter, rather, of this famous Hollywood starlet, and she ends up having this scandal that kind of makes everything go wrong. So she goes to try and find her grandmother to help her out. I love Hollywood-based stories. I feel like I haven't read that many, but I have enjoyed the ones that I've read, so I want to read more. I swear we are at the end of the pile. There are so many books here. I'm so sorry, but 2020 has been like, it's been a year, but it's also been a really great year for new releases. Also, I wanted to include quite a few because I feel like it's been hard to like hear about people's books because there's so much going on, so I hope that this kind of helps out a little bit. But next is A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. You've probably heard of this book before. That was like a weird transition because this book was super, super hyped up. It's the author of Uprooted, which I still haven't read. I've had it forever. I will get to it at some point. This one I just couldn't resist. It sounded so cool. So it's about this school where you like, the only allies that you have, the only friends that you have are allies rather, because it's like there's monsters who are trying to kill you. You can't like walk in the halls alone in the dark. I don't know, but there's like a map and that just had me like, whoo. Next is Grown by Tiffany D. Jackson. Honestly, after having read Allegedly, I just want to know more of what Tiffany D. Jackson has to offer. So this is her latest release, and it follows a main character who is hoping to make it as a singer. She's really struggling, but then this R&B star ends up approaching her, but then he ends up dead. And she wakes up with no memory of the night before, so she becomes a prime suspect. I don't know what's gonna happen. Like, after having read Allegedly, I will trust no one and I will have questions the whole time. Next is Take a Hint, Dani Brown by Talia Hibbert. I feel like I'm okay having not read this book because I only read Chloe Brown recently, but this one sounds like it would appeal to me some more because it is, I think this one was fake dating, I believe. Friends with Benefits, is the next one fake dating? Maybe the next one that's coming out is fake dating. I don't know. But the point is, I did really enjoy her writing. It was just like the enemies to lovers thing doesn't really appeal to me, and that is part of Chloe Brown, so I think that this one will be something I would like a little bit more. Next is Real Men Knit by Kwana Jackson. This is a romance that is set against the backdrop of a knitting shop, so you follow when their foster turned adoptive mother suddenly dies, 4 brothers struggle to keep open the doors of her beloved Harlem knitting shop. That sounds so cute. Oh my goodness. And finally, that was a very long list, Don't Read the Comments by Eric Smith. This deals with gamers who they end up connecting in the game. Their real lives, like, they're kind of having struggles there. So they find solace in each other in the game. And the one character is a famous streamer, so she's dealing with some hate comments. So I think it's going to deal with that topic a lot. Another book that I've heard great things about, and honestly I've wanted to read since it came out at the beginning of the year. So hopefully I will be able to squeeze it in somewhere. Really true of all of these books. Truly. Those are all of the 2020 releases that I'm really sad that I didn't get the chance to get to yet, at least like the top ones. There's definitely more, but I, believe it or not, I did try to narrow this list down. Please do let me know what 2020 release you didn't get the chance to read yet, but you wish that you did, or if you have read any of these books, which ones were your favorite? So don't forget to join me tomorrow for Bookmas Day 10. So I will be talking about the best and the worst books. Like, I'm going to be taking each month and picking a best and a worst book. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun. But also don't forget to subscribe, because I'll be putting out a new video every single day for the entire month of December. So you'll want to turn on those notifications as well. Click that bell so you won't miss any of them. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video tomorrow. Bye!